The Big Thompson Flood of 1976 changed Colorado, and it changed Coloradans. Tomorrow marks 50 years since the deadliest natural disaster in modern state history. Our Mark Salinger drove the canyon with a man who made that drive 5 decades ago.
In a canyon filled with curves,
We are at the mouth of the Big Thompson Canyon.
every corner brings back new memories.
Every time I come up here, I remember when I drive by the spot where we got stuck.
Of all the times he's driven through the Big Thompson Canyon in Larimer County, July 31st, 1976 will always stand out for Chester Hitchens.
Yeah, I used to always talk about it. It's like, 50 years go by, I'll be an old man by then. I hope I'm still alive, and here I am, so.
5 decades ago, the then 17-year-old made the same drive with a friend heading home from Steamboat. They didn't make it out of the canyon the night it flooded.
We kind of went through that high water through the drainage, and the car started to kind of float towards the river. Now this is the drainage that about pushed us into the water here, coming through here. Right there is where I pulled in.
A high spot somewhere in between Drake and Estes Park was as far as they got.
A 62 Chevrolet Biscayne doesn't make a very good boat, so.
They camped out in his car as the storm dropped nearly a foot of rain on the canyon.
We're 200 or 300 feet above the river, so we knew we were safe here. We could kind of see cars floating down the river, a few, then we could, propane tanks were floating down the river. There was just a lot of noise. Some people were found in trees, they went to gather stuff and they came back and half their family was gone.
144 people died that night. It's still the deadliest natural disaster in modern Colorado history. 2 days and 2 helicopter flights later, Chester and his friend made it home.
They had some Red Cross people there, and they kind of, talked to us, make sure we were all right.
The curves of the Big Thompson River flow calmly. 50 years later.
Yeah, it'll flood again, and again, and again.
But the memories of what happened will always be in this canyon. Chester and his friend were eventually airlifted out of the canyon with the help of the National Guard the day after the flood. They abandoned his car, but somehow got a call a couple weeks later saying, hey, come back to Loveland, pick up the car and anything that was left inside, Kyle.
I'm always curious, Mark, when people find themselves in these situations, when they realize it's gone from, wow, this is a really heavy rain, to, my goodness, this is a deadly situation.
So there was a whole group of people that were there with them that night, but they had no idea that 144 people were dying or had died that evening. He said that there was a motorcyclist that rode by. He doesn't know if that person made it. It wasn't until they made it out of the canyon, started hearing the radio, the news, and people were telling them just how bad it was.
Like nothing Colorado had seen or has seen since, thankfully. Mark Salinger, thank you.